We've got your sports information and daily updates, plus injury information and betting lines, and so much more. Welcome to the garage. Give the video a like and subscribe to the channel, it helps us out a lot. Please remember, all information in our videos is intended for entertainment purposes only. Now today's video. Thanks for joining us again here in the garage. Today let's continue our NFL season preview with the AFC South. The preliminary lines to win the division currently stand at Houston Texans plus $1.40, Jacksonville Jaguars plus $1.85, Indianapolis Colts 3.5 to 1, Tennessee Titans 10 to 1. First up, let's look at the Houston Texans. Houston finished the season 12-5, putting them in second place in the AFC South, one game behind Jacksonville. The Texans began the season with a 0-3 record for the first time since the 2020 season and stood at 3-5 through Week 9. The team later rebounded with a 9-game winning streak following a victory over the Indianapolis Colts, finishing the regular season with a 12-5 record. The Texans recorded their first road postseason victory with a 30-6 win over the Pittsburgh Steelers in the wild card round. But the team's season would officially come to an end with their loss to the New England Patriots 28-16 in the divisional round. C.J. Stroud returns as starting quarterback. Stroud passed for 3,041 yards and 19 touchdowns in 14 games. Houston added David Montgomery from Detroit via a traded in the offseason. He rushed for 718 yards and 8 touchdowns. He is a nice upgrade from last season and will be paired with Woody Marks, who had 703 yards and 2 touchdowns last season. Nico Collins is their leading receiver. Collins had 1,117 yards and 8 touchdowns. Dalton Schultz is the leading tight end at 777 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Texans are still waiting for speedy receiver Tank Dell to return. He missed all of last season with a leg injury. The Texans finished in the middle of the pack in points scored. Where the Texans excelled was on defense. The Texans allowed the second fewest points in the NFL at 295, trailing only the Seahawks, who allowed 292. The Texans were first in fewest yards, allowed at 277.2 yards per game. The defense will always keep them in games. The offense will only go as far as C.J. Stroud will take them. In their playoff loss to New England, he had 1 touchdown and 4 interceptions. The job is to limit mistakes. How well he plays is how far the Texans go. Moving over to the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars finished the season 13-4 and in first place in the AFC South. The Jaguars earned the number 3 seed in the AFC, but lost to Buffalo 27-24 in the wild card round. Jacksonville won their last 8 games to secure the AFC South title. The Jags outscored opponents 269-116 in those 8 weeks. They averaged 33 points per game and only gave up 14 points per game. Trevor Lawrence is back at quarterback. He passed for 4,007 yards and 29 touchdowns, while also rushing for another 9 touchdowns. The Jags lost their leading rusher to free agency. Travis Etienne rushed for 1,107 yards and 7 touchdowns. He also had another 6 touchdowns receiving. The Jags signed Chris Rodriguez from Washington. The Jaguars brought Rodriguez in to complement second-year player Bhaishul Tutin, who ran for 307 yards and 5 touchdowns and caught 10 passes for 79 yards and 2 touchdowns last season as a backup to Travis Etienne Jr. The expectation is Tutin takes over as the number 1 in 2026, but Rodriguez will get plenty of work as well. Rodriguez rushed for 920 yards and 10 touchdowns in 3 seasons in Washington, including 500 yards and 6 touchdowns last season. The Jaguars' top 4 receivers from last season all returned, led by Parker Washington, who had 847 yards and 5 touchdowns. Etienne's 6 touchdowns were the most receiving touchdowns and will be missed as Lawrence's safety valve. The Jags' chance of defending their AFC South title will depend on how well they replace Etienne. Next up, the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts finished the season 8-9 and finished in third place in the AFC South and missed the playoffs for the fifth straight season. The Colts started the season strong and were 8-2 and in first place. Then the season went to hell. The team suffered a late-season collapse and proceeded to lose their remaining 7 games after the bye, with Jones suffering a season-ending Achilles injury in Week 14 against the Jacksonville Jaguars as well. The Colts were eliminated from playoff contention for the 5th consecutive season. The Colts became the first team in NFL history to finish the season with a losing record after an 8-2 start. Daniel Jones, who's still on the mend from December 9th surgery to repair a torn right Achilles tendon, is the present and immediate future of the Indianapolis Colts quarterbacks room. Any doubt was erased when general manager Chris Ballard and principal owner Carly Gordon signed off on a 2-year, $88 million contract. That included a $44 million signing bonus. The financial commitment spoke volumes. Jones passed for 3,101 yards and 19 touchdowns while rushing for 5 more touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor returns as the star running back. He rushed for 1,585 yards and 18 touchdowns. Alec Pierce is back at wide receiver. He had 1,003 yards and 6 touchdowns. The team traded number 2 wideout Michael Pittman to Pittsburgh for a 6th-round draft pick. Pierce signed a 4-year deal for $114 million, and the Colts could no longer afford Pittman. The Colts concentrated on defense in the draft, yet didn't have a first-round pick. How far the Colts go this season will depend on their 2 highest-paid players in Jones and Pierce. Pierce received a lot of money for someone who hadn't been a primary pass catcher. Last up, we have the Tennessee Titans. The Titans finished the season 3-14 and last in the AFC South and missed the playoffs for the 4th straight season. The Titans started the season 1-11, which was their worst start since 1994. The Titans placed last in the AFC South for the 3rd consecutive season, and this was their 4th consecutive losing season. The Titans beat the Cardinals, Browns, and the Chiefs. No team had more than 6 wins. Cam Ward returns as quarterback. Ward passed for 3,169 yards, but only had 15 touchdowns. His completion percentage of 59.6% was one of the lowest in the NFL. The passing yardage ranked 29th of 32 teams. Tony Pollard returns at running back. He rushed for 1,082 yards and had 5 touchdowns. The receiver room will be totally revamped. Tight end Chig Okonkwo, who led with 560 yards, signed with Washington as a free agent. The top 5 receivers from last season are all gone. Carnell Tate was the number 4 overall pick out of Ohio State and one of the top 2 receivers in the draft. He will start along with free agent signee Wan'Dale Robinson of the Giants. Robinson had 1,014 yards and 4 touchdowns for the Giants. Calvin Ridley also returns after missing 11 games last season. The Titans on defense allowed 479 points last season. That ranked 29th out of 32 teams. The Titans added free agents on defense John Franklin Myers D lineman and cornerbacks Alontae Taylor and Cordale Flott. The players should help fill some holes, but the Titans are still a bit away from fighting for a division title. All right, everybody, that wraps it up for the AFC South. We'll be right back here in the garage for a look at the rest of the AFC soon, so stay tuned. Thanks for joining us in the garage. Please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time, right here in the garage.